Today, we're going to share the lessons learned from gathering over 500,000 subscribers, plus hundreds of paying customers from going live on YouTube. Our guests today are next level guests. And you don't want to miss this because we're going to be answering your questions too. All of that and more coming up right now on Stream Like You Mean It.
You're watching Stream Like You Mean It, where entrepreneurs and video creators like you learn to create more effective and engaging live stream shows.
Make it hot.
This show is hosted by Owen Video and powered by Restream. We're live every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, multi-streaming on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and more. Now, here's your host, Owen Video.
Hey, welcome back. I'm your host, Owen Video. You can give me 5. That's right. Type 5 into the comment section below. That is how we say hello on this show. I am really pumped to be here with y'all today. And I hope that you liked our brand new opening audio bumper. We just put it together. We just threw a little bit of excellence. We put a dash of hip hop. We flavored it with some beast mode. And that's what we got. We got lots more to share with you today. And I'm really glad that you joined us here today. Hey, we got a question for you today. My question for you today is this: how many YouTube subscribers, how many followers do you really want to have in your life? Right? How many followers, how many subscribers are you searching for right now? Now, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of us, we want to have 1 million subscribers, right? You want to have, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. But think about where you are today and what your next milestone goal is, right? Maybe it's 1,000 subscribers. Maybe it's getting to 500 subscribers. Maybe it's a little bit more humble than that. That's okay. I mean, the first 500 is really the hardest, I think, 500 to get. But maybe you're like Paul Duke and you've got a couple thousand already. Maybe 10,000 subscribers is your next goal. But whether you're live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, or somewhere else on the web, I would like to know from you right now, what are your subscriber goals? What's that next milestone you're trying to get to? Let me hear from you in the comment section below. And while you're doing that, I want to give a huge shout out, a big air five to our tech sponsors over at Restream, the best live streaming software you're ever going to need. And I think you need to go get a free trial today. And let me tell you, here's why. With Restream.io, you can broadcast your message on multiple social media platforms at the same time. And with the new Restream Studio, you can go live with custom branded graphics, a chat room that pulls all your conversations into one place, and many more features. So get started today on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and more. Just visit owenvideo.com/restream to get your free trial today. Guys, no messing around. Go to owenvideo.com/restream and get your free trial. Take a look at why I love this software. Look at all this kind of fun stuff we've got going on here. We got a whole chat area over here with Dr. Sten Ekberg. Oh my goodness gracious. Doc, good to have you out here today. We got excellent dude, Lon and Lily Tree. It's always wonderful to see Lily Tree. S. Burke 757, Harley Pebbly. Is it Peebly Pebbly? Harley is here. That's our man with the master plan. It's good to see you here today. And I'm glad that you guys are with us because we really have some phenomenal guests that I can't wait to bring on to the show here today. So let's kind of jump into it, but I still want to hear you guys answer the question. How many YouTube subscribers are you shooting for? I would love to hear from you. And while you're doing that, I want to introduce our guests for today. Our first guest is D. Nimmin. He's a mobile video expert with over 100,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel, and he did that within 2 years. It might even be less than that. I'd love to hear, his journey on how long it took him to get there. He's a live streamer And he's also an ambassador for TubeBuddy. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my man, the myth, the legend, D. Nimmin. D, great to have you on the show today. How are you?
What's going on? Owen Video, man. It's been a while since I've been on the show. I'm super excited to be back. How you doing?
Well, I'm glad that we're in the same time zones now, because that kind of made this whole thing possible.
Yes, being in the same time zone or close to it changes everything.
It does.
It helps with productivity a lot.
I bet. We used to be, a good what, man, like 12 hours, 13 hours apart?
Yeah. That's difficult.
It is, but I'm glad to have you just a few miles away right now. So
yes.
While you're here, I'm gonna get you. And what I'm gonna do is bring on our second guest, a gentleman by the name of Daniel Batal over at Creator Conversations. Daniel Batal is a video optimization and YouTube expert with, again, over 100,000 subscribers on his channel, where he teaches video editing tricks using Filmora. And he's also a live streamer and brand ambassador with TubeBuddy. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Daniel Batal. Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Super good to have both of you guys on the show. Like, this is really a power-packed show, and I really wanted to engage the audience and give you guys in the audience a chance to ask D and to ask Daniel and myself whatever questions are on your mind. We're going to do our best to answer them all in the time that we have together. But we also want to be talking a little bit. Is Justin Brown in the audience? Look, here's the deal. I want to see who can make me laugh on this show, because I think half of your goal is trying to disrupt me. And I love that about this show. A couple weeks ago, I had D and Daniel in the audience sort of getting me to laugh on the show. And we had a good time doing that, didn't we?
We're a disruptive influence, no question about it.
Now, you guys are live streaming often, not just with TubeBuddy, but you often join me on Nick's channel, and we stream on Nick's channel. I'd love to hear from you, both starting off. Daniel, start with you. Talk to us a little bit about your journey into YouTube and sort of like the biggest lessons that you want to teach people about YouTube.
Yeah, I think most people know, or people who know me a little more than just the channel I'm on now, know that I started with my son on a channel that we were doing for fun called Extreme Food Reviews.
Yeah,
and that was the channel that taught me all the lessons to build the channel that I have now. And it was a channel that we were out there having a lot of fun, eating hot sauces and peppers and tarantulas and insane stuff. And it was a lesson that I learned there whenever my son was out of town or he was off, with his mom or doing something, then I wanted to put up a piece of content. I would be like, oh, well, maybe I could make the hot sauces that we talk about and try, just do so, because I like being in the kitchen. And it was those videos that went on to drive hundreds of thousands of views. And that's when I learned, boy, if you show somebody something, if you provide value, if you teach them something, if they walk away having gained something that they were looking for, other than just trying to be super entertaining, which I struggle with daily, there's actually a market for that. And that's more of what I try to do now in this newer channel, is I really try to always put the viewers' needs first and give them something that they're looking for, and then hopefully get to do something that I enjoy doing along the way.
Yeah. Do you find that the two, there's plenty of overlap, or do you find you're making a sacrifice between, caring about the audience, but doing stuff you hate or dislike, it's not like energizing per se, or do you find that there's like a happy marriage of the two?
I think that in any given point of your growth journey, there's going to be a little bit of both. I think that, I've modified. I used to always tell people, try to put the needs of the viewer first. Yeah. And I've modified that recently, where I say, always put the needs of the viewer first, but not to the exclusion of the needs of the creator. So I can tell you, Filmora tutorial 103, was I super excited about making that video the way I would doing something that I had never done before? No, because part of it is I'm putting other people's needs first. But I always try to bring a new spin to it, and I try to balance it out enough that when I do get in a zone where I know this stuff will do really well for the channel because I know the audience loves it, but it may be something that's super redundant for me. I always try to keep in mind, it's the 103rd time I'm showing somebody something with Filmora, but it's not the 103rd time for someone who might be watching that video.
Right.
It might be their first or second time. So I always try to approach those things as like, listen, don't act like you're bored. I'm sure musicians like, Paul Simon are probably tired of playing Bridge Over Troubled Water and, me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard or whatever band you like. But they always try to bring that same passion as when they first did it to the stage. And that's what I try to do in my content.
That's a great point. I often think about like a Simon and Garfunkel, like how often Paul Simon's like, hey, what's that guy's name that you used to do stuff with, before, and like how it probably gets a little bit old, but the needs of the viewer are extremely important. And if you are a video creator or an entrepreneur and you want to learn more content around YouTube and how to grow and how to become a professional YouTuber, then please subscribe to the Owen Video channel. We put a link for you in the chat area where you can just click that link, subscribe, and we would love to hear more from you. And I do have a YouTube face, by the way. I do, because I don't want to be stuck kind of like reading comments. Like I kind of have a YouTube face, and I appreciate you guys recognizing it. Dean Nimmin, you've done some pretty incredible work on YouTube. You're a mobile video expert. You're becoming a TikTok expert as well. Talk to us a little bit about, we got a ton of questions coming back in. Talk to us a little bit about the best thing that you want to teach, the number one thing you want to teach people about YouTube based on your experience.
The number one thing I want to teach people about YouTube is I just want to inspire them to get started, right? People get caught up in the whole gear thing. They look at so many other YouTubers and they've got these crazy cameras and they've got all the equipment and all the lights, and that stuff can be really intimidating. And under the surface of my channel, because on the surface it's I want to help you succeed in live stream on YouTube with your phone, but under the surface, I'm just trying to give you the confidence and inspire you to get started with the camera you already have, and that's your phone.
Yeah, that's really good. Hey, want to welcome Bradley Teaches, one of the newest members of the Video Marketing School. We're glad to have you here. We've got Facebook user who says, this has got to be Jason Rodriguez. Guess I'm not signed in with the correct permissions. Yeah, it's definitely user error, bro. But we love you, and we're glad that you're here. I want to say what's up to Mia, Jules, Adrian Rose, Cabin Dweller, and Justin Brown from Primal Video. I love that he's like staying up this late to advocate D for president. That's something that think we all need to like learn a lesson from. So we got a lot of questions coming in, and folks, I really want to give this show to you to ask your questions to two of the top YouTube creators that are in the space today. But I want to start with a little bit about your live streaming show on TubeBuddy. Guys, talk to us a little bit about that show and what are your goals for that show? What is it you're trying to do? And I'll let you guys kind of take it from there.
Run with that, D.
Yeah, so our whole idea with running a TubeBuddy show, the Daniel and D show. And by the way, we had multiple fights trying to figure out, was it going to be the Daniel and D show or was it going to be the D and Daniel show? Right. That was like, we had to arm wrestle for it.
Who won?
I made you laugh. Right? I got you, Owen. I got
Good.
you.
Ow.
I got you. Yeah. Send me PayPal. So the whole idea, we wanted to do something monthly where it was two people. Everything was topical. We were trying to solve problems for YouTubers. We were trying to make them aware of new features. We were trying to give them tips and tricks to help them grow their channel. And we want to do something. We've got an intro. We've got our own song that Daniel made, and we wanted to turn it into a thing. And that's what we were doing. That's what we've been doing. Provide as much value. Good.
What D doesn't tell you is we make it sound very egotistical, like I wanted it to be Daniel and D, and he wanted it to be D and Daniel, which would be the natural progression back to that Simon and Garfunkel reference, so we know who won that fight. I actually had written the song, and I wrote it as D and Daniel because I wanted to put him first. He did the graphics and called it the Daniel and D show.
That's hilarious.
It's been a running joke, like, well, let's just leave it both ways, and who cares it's the double D's is what it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, because the double D show sounds like the obvious low hanging fruit there. No pun, multiple puns intended.
That show is on another channel. That's a totally different website.
Demonetized immediately. It just never happened.
It's after dark.
Yes.
Is live streaming a viable strategy for YouTube creators?
Ooh, that's a great question.
It definitely is. I think I think anything that is incorporated into sort of the YouTube ecosystem is a viable method of something of growing a channel and getting better connected with the target audience you're trying to reach. That's what it really comes down to. I see people smash their faces against the wall trying to figure out things like there's some magical combination that the almighty algorithm will suddenly start recommending your content. But it all comes down to, listen, you have a channel. There should be a value proposition in that channel, and that value proposition should include what it is you bring to a specific target audience. So if that target audience is willing to consume live streaming, then absolutely incorporate it into your strategy. But YouTube is a high functioning platform, meaning it has tons of options so that anybody coming to the platform can use it in different ways. That doesn't necessarily mean that you should absolutely incorporate every single feature. If shorts is a feature that you think fits your strategy, use shorts. If live streaming is something that fits your strategy, try using live streaming and let the audience be the one that tells you based on how they consume your content, whether you're doing it right. It seems to be connecting.
Now, when you say, is it connecting right? Are you talking about, oh, I got a comment that said, please keep live streaming? Or are you talking about an analytic result that says, hey, I'm actually I'm getting more subscribers and I'm getting more watch time? Like here's the anecdotal evidence versus sort of like the hard evidence. Like, where's the line for you? Like, what are you looking at specifically?
D can pick right up where I left off.
No, go ahead with that. Go ahead with that.
Well, here's the thing. One of the things that I think creators miss out on is they think that this is cookie cutter. They think if I do X plus Y and then add in some Z, I should get a result of, X, Y, Z. Right. And that just isn't the truth. The way that I create is different than the way you create, Owen, is different than the way that D creates. And even if we all existed in the exact same niche, making the exact same kind of content for the exact same target audience member, I keep going back to music again. It's like different artists being handed a song and saying, sing and record this. You're going to hear completely different versions of that song, some that will connect with you, some that won't, some that will connect with others that didn't connect with you. So a lot of this is learning to find the voice you bring to the conversation and the way you bring that voice. And when you find what works for you, just by looking at, listen, when I make this kind of video, let's say, if you're a small channel and you say, look, I made a bunch of videos and they all seem to get a few hundred views on the first day, but I made this one other video and it got like 500 or 600 views the first day. Right. That's your channel and your audience telling you, hey, that's working. What you did there was different. That connected better. You don't need to get lost into the forest of metrics and data and CTR and average view duration and all that stuff. What you want to do is go, listen, your channel will tell you quickly if something is connecting, and if it is, double down on that stuff. And if you make stuff that comes up short, either look at it and try to realize why something came up short, or just don't repeat those things that aren't connecting as well. I see that a lot from newer creators where, something takes off on their channel and they don't repeat that thing, right? They go, oh, well, that was great, but now I have to kind of go back to what I already planned to do. And I think that as a YouTube coach, like my job is to kind of point out to them, like, whoa, you just did a video on, banana pancakes. Do more either pancake recipes, banana recipes, or augmentations on the banana pancake recipe. You guys run a show together. It's easy for me to kind of jump on and be like, hey, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. But you guys have two minds, two personalities. I'd love to hear your process for planning the show. Kind of like walk us through, like, how you guys plan a show. How do you manage the back and forth and like kind of walk us through that process of getting prepared to go live and to have a good show. It's not just and you guys are cracking me up in the comment section. I'm trying to like hang on to it. But like,
they're totally pulling me in. I'm like reading the comments, like, what is going on here?
So the double D thing is still happening. I just want you guys to know it's still being played with in the Great. I just said played with double D's. So we got to be careful. Yes. So look, like how do you, without turning it into grabassery, is kind of my word. Like, let's just go and do whatever we want. How do you guys?
So you just took it lower. So we're at the double D's. Now it's grabassery. We're going all over the place today.
Approximately 36 inches lower. So talk to us about that, D. Like, what does your process look like?
Yeah, so our process, first of all, we do a lot of calls back and forth. We hop on a call together, video call. We kind of brainstorm on ideas. And sometimes we think a couple of shows out, right? We think, okay, what about this idea? What about this idea? And we don't always want to just go for, like, it's really easy to do things like, YouTube channel reviews, how to grow fast. Like those things, we know that's going to pull the lever. We know that's going to bring in the audience, but everybody's doing that. We want to take things a little bit deeper and give people information that they can actually use to just, how do you grow fast? That doesn't exist, right? So our process is we do a lot of brainstorming. We open up a Google Doc and we just start, hashing out the ideas. We come up with a really good title. We kind of bounce that around for a while. We want something that's really compelling, but at the same time, it's got a good keyword phrase in it that really speaks to our target audience. And then we just go through and we start making notes. Here's the order. Yeah. And in terms of how we kind of hand stuff back and forth, and it's really interesting because when we first did it, you have to learn each other's rhythm. You have to learn, you know what I mean? So when Daniel and I first started streaming together, our first couple of shows versus our last couple of shows are probably going to be a lot different in terms of how we throw the information back and forth. But it was a learning process, and we work really well together. We think along the same way. We have an idea, and the other one's we were just talking about this yesterday. Daniel always comes up with the craziest thumbnails, and it doesn't matter what the other one says, no matter how absurd it is, the other one's like, yep, let's do it. We try to have fun at the same time while we're providing massive amounts of value.
The synergy that you guys have is really attractive, and I think that oftentimes I'm part of the synergy. Sometimes I'm watching you guys have synergy. Roberto Blake, Nick Nimmin, Brian Johnson. These are some of the others that are kind of in the group and the crew that we're used to streaming with. Daniel, does that take a long time to develop? Would you recommend having guests on a live stream show? Do you prefer the one-off streams? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Hang on, I'm Googling synergy. No, it's like Dee said, is a lot of times that we begin with, we try to come at it a different angle. Like he was saying, like it's real easy to talk about how to get more views and subscribers, but we've gone out of our way to try to think about the kind of things that we run into when we actually talk to creators, like silly things. Like we were bouncing ideas like, what do creators really ask us? And a lot of times they'll say things like, why am I losing subscribers? And it's this very simple answer, but it's something that really freaks people out. So like we did a whole show on that, and we really followed it through with like building out the document and like taking, like, how do we make a thumbnail that would scream losing subscribers? And it was okay. Oh, I know, I'll have a box and we'll have like, these people hopping out of it. Like we can't contain them. They're just running free. That kind of stuff is where we begin. And then we see how we can add value. Like we did one where, a lot of people ask us, like, how do you really like explode on YouTube? And immediately we thought of Roger Wakefield. Roger is just exploding, and not just on YouTube, but beyond. And he was a guy that you would think the deck was stacked against him. Yeah, like an older plumber, is now dominating.
With a cowboy look to him. You know what I mean? Like not necessarily the look of YouTube.
Right. In a niche that kind of didn't exist too. It's like, Roger will tell you a story. So we said, that we need Roger on because if he can explain how he was able to really dominate and what it was like for him, because we've all talked together in person and we all know Roger's story. If Roger could bring that story, he would help us explain to other creators what it's like to feel like a fish out of water or the new guy to the party or being, the wrong fit for YouTube and still managing to crush it. So that's how we move forward. If we think there's another voice that we can bring in, we've had Matt Gielen on the show because when it comes to certain things like crushing suggested and understanding how the suggested algorithm works, algorithms, he was the guy that you wanted to bring in and really have him give some insight.
Yeah, and all solid YouTube folks as well, right? Like they're in the game, not only uploading themselves, but coaching others in how to do it. Well, I want to hear from some of the voices out there watching us right now. And I want to give a big air five to those of you leaving super chats for us. We really appreciate it. And we're glad to have you here. James Pruitt is here. Gadget Gecko is here. Costume Co., White Noise Studio, and Brendan Sparks, just to name a few. We are glad you're here. And I want to open up with a question that comes from Gracie. And Gracie is asking a question regarding shorts. And she's asking, have you noticed a difference between recording on your phone versus recording on your camera and cropping it for the aspect ratio. Guys, maybe start with defining what is a YouTube short, and I'll let you guys take it from there.
Okay, a YouTube short is a new feature that YouTube has been rolling out. It started in India, and that's where the Shorts camera started. A short is a vertical video. That means it is filmed this way, not this way. It is 60 seconds or less. Now, there's two ways to upload a short. If you have the Shorts camera, and more people are getting the Shorts camera every day, this is going to be a feature inside of the YouTube app itself where you go and you tap on the little plus icon where you're going to upload a video or post to your community feed or post a story. If you have the Shorts camera, you're going to have the ability to create a short. That's one way to create a short. If you create a short that way, it records in 15-second segments. Now, you can also upload a short on your phone normally or on a computer normally. Same thing, vertical video. 60 seconds or less, and they recommend that you put hashtag shorts in either the title or the description. But here's the thing. A great video can end up in what's called the short shelf with or without the hashtag, because at the end of the day, it's all about video performance. Now, the short shelf shows up on the homepage on the YouTube mobile app. A lot of you have seen stories, right? YouTube stories where people can make short little stories. They've now added shorts. I believe they call it short videos. And that's where the short shelf is, right? There's only a certain amount of shorts that can show there at any particular time. And the short shelf also shows sometimes underneath a video that you're watching.
Wow.
So the holy grail here is to get your short video inside of the short shelf. That's where all the traffic is going to come from. But be warned, when you upload a short, it's going to sit next to all of your other content. So you want to treat it just like any other piece of content. Make your thumbnail, write your description,
really
put a great title in there. And then if everything goes well, it's going to end up in the short shelf as well. So it can live in multiple places at the same time.
Are we making vertical thumbnails, or is it a widescreen thumbnail for a vertical video?
Just standard thumbnail. The confusion with shorts is that people think it's some mystical thing. When what you want to do is treat it just like any other piece of content. Think it out. Make it interesting. Have an amazing hook at the beginning to pull people in. Great title, great description, great thumbnail that you put in normally. It just happens to be vertical video, and it just happens to be 60 seconds or less.
And it will play on. I have not seen it. I've not seen shorts appear on my mobile devices. Like, they haven't sent me any shorts yet. And I guess that's just normal. Like, we're just kind of like, you get it when you get it kind of thing.
Yeah, mine has come and gone. So sometimes I open it up and it's there. Sometimes it's not there. So they're obviously testing different things, because that's obviously, it's YouTube. That's what they do. They're testing.
And you guys did, I think, a whole video on that, correct, Daniel? Or did just you do that on your channel?
I started with one on my channel, and I immediately realized how confusing the feature was to a lot of people. It is one of the most confusing rollouts of all features we've ever seen on YouTube. Yeah. So what I did is I sat with Dee and I said, again, when we talk about how we figure out the show, so we had another thing planned, and I said, why don't we put that to the following week, and let's stay here. I think this is something that's really on the, in the minds of a lot of creators, and they want to better understand it. So we took a lot of the data that I've been collecting and explained to people, showed them the data, show how you can use it to recommend longer form content, and showed how it was exploding certain videos on my channel if you use the right strategy. So yeah, there's definitely some confusion in it, and it's one of those things that we like talking about. Anything that confuses creators, we always want to try to put a comb through it and make it a little more clear.
Use words like security.
So what we did is we did an entire 1-hour live stream on the TubeBuddy channel about shorts. Daniel has a video on shorts. I've got 2 videos on shorts. One explaining shorts, another one explaining why your shorts aren't getting views.
Yeah, that's cool.
And back to that question really quickly. Is there a difference between cropping? Like you're basically talking about if there's maybe you're trying to repurpose some content. A piece of content like this. Look at me here. If this was cropped in, I would still be centered. It would probably work. If it wasn't like this and you cropped it and started cutting parts out of the way that the thing was composed and it made it awkward, then it would work less. So it's one of those things that whenever possible, try to actually film for the platform or piece of the platform that you're optimizing for. If it prefers 9:16, try to film a 9:16, but then just take a look at it. If you can do something with something and repurpose it, then do it.
We're playing with YouTube Shorts on our channel. We have 4 uploaded. 3 of them are top performers for the whole channel. Multiple thousands of views. I'll say within like 3 weeks, right? That's usually the lifespan of a video on our channel. Like after about 3 weeks, it's not really going to grow too much unless it's ranking in the search engine. And not every video is made to rank in the search engine. And it's neat learning how they work, to say the least. So I think you guys should be experimenting with it for sure.
I want to add, Owen, I want to add
please.
that in terms of the ratio, just make it 9:16. I'm seeing YouTube Shorts; they're cramming different. It's all vertical format, and the ratio is not exactly the same in some of these shorts. And some phones will actually have different pixels in terms of the actual size. But just film it vertically and try to aim for a 9:16 ratio.
Yeah,
and that will work.
It's supposed to be like their version of Reels or TikTok, right? So kind of keep it thinking in that regards. Okay, we've got a lot of questions coming from the audience, and I'm going to repost them just so that we can give shouts out to those who said it. So our next question actually comes from Cooking for the Missus, who says, I have a lot of subscribers for one specific video. This is having a negative effect on my other videos, as that's not what they subscribed for, dude. I did that for like a year and a half. I totally get it. How do I recreate that success? Daniel, let's start with you.
Let me see. The question, can you repeat the question one more time? I was typing in the chat.
Yeah, so he's got one video that's taken off on his channel.
Yeah.
But it's off topic from the other videos. So it's having
lose it. This is here's one of the things that I talk to all creators I work with about. In today's game of YouTube, you need to come up with a value proposition for your channel. And that should be one quick sentence that describes what your niche is, what the channel's about, who the target audience is, and why they would watch your channel. If you have a well-defined value proposition and it's actually in place and it makes sense, all you ever have to do is say, does this video I'm making, does it adhere to my value proposition? And if it does, make that video. If it doesn't, don't make that video. Because what happens is, if you make some video that's off topic, that doesn't really relate to your channel, as any other creator would, you see success in getting views, you get excited, and you're like, this is great. But what YouTube is doing is every time that video gets served out, it's trying to find another piece of content to recommend to that viewer. And if it chooses one from your channel, it fragments your audience. And when people don't click it because your other videos aren't similar to the one that they're recommending, what happens is YouTube goes, oh, well, I guess they just don't like his other videos. And they stop recommending them. This is something I've worked with creators on over and over again. I've watched creators who have been on the platform for years, who have flatlined for growth, and it had to do nothing more than having too many videos on their channel that were performing outside of their value prop. Once we thinned the herd and unlisted them and got focused right into making content that was consistent, the channels took off.
That's really fascinating. D, go ahead.
Yeah, I've made that mistake. A couple of my top performing videos were videos that I wanted to make. I love dark mode, everything, every single app and everything should be dark mode, right? I made the videos because I love dark mode, but it wasn't in alignment with my value proposition, right? I'm helping mobile content creators succeed on YouTube. I'm helping mobile content creators edit videos, how to go live with your phone. So what happened is, like, one of my top videos is like 1.6 million views. It might be 1.7 now. How to turn on dark mode on YouTube. So I brought in thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people who want to learn about dark mode, but they don't care about how to make content or go live with their phone. So yeah, I've done that. I haven't ripped the Band-Aid off yet. So the video is still published. I look at it every day and I'm just like, I should unlist this. I should unlist this, but I haven't yet.
It's hard to do that. Like my top performing video is like how to do SEO on WordPress. And it's like, son of a gun, like I haven't taught on that stuff in 5 years. But it's still consistently a big performer on my channel. And you know what? It's because at the time, I didn't know about value statements. And I want to share with you guys a guide that we have written for you, the YouTube creator, on value statements, where we'll actually help you develop a value statement for your channel. And if you want to get this guide, this is something that we're giving away for free, and we've got tons of great content in here. And you can go to the link that's in the chat area right now. It's owenvideo.com/startyt, capital Y, capital T, and grab the guide. Check it out. It'll help you to write a value statement for your channel that will help your channel perform. But you guys got to think, you got to stick with it, right? If your value is like, I teach plumbers how to master plumbing, then doing a sort of a video about your kid's birthday party. It's not. I also want to vlog as well, right? It's going to throw your channel out of whack, and I think that's something you've got to pay attention to. So great question, Cooking for the Missus. And we've got a lot more questions coming in. Our next question is coming from
Owen.
Yes.
Can I add something to that? Because I think this is very important, because even though I knew what my value proposition was, I thought, okay, well, it's still mobile. And I never thought in a million years that video would get more than like 1,000 or 2,000 views. And it ended up getting over 1 million views. So even if you're testing and you're like, I just want to see, maybe if nobody's going to watch this. Like, I didn't think anybody was going to watch it. And it's got well over, it's pushing 2 million views. So you got to be careful with that, because it can backfire.
Yeah, you know, and I think you guys said something really that I liked a lot, which is knowing what not to produce, right? Knowing what videos you got to kind of throw off the shelf. And I think that's a muscle you have to build, right? Because maybe you guys can relate. Like, I've actually been in front of my camera and I'm going like, and I'm filming and I'm like, I should not be making this video right now. Seemed good at the time, right? Like, you're around people and the buzz and it's like, oh, it's a good idea. But then you're like, you know what? I'm just wandering again. I'm kind of outside. So I'm going into my passion area versus what my people sort of subscribe to. And I think that's something we've all got to be conscious of. And we've got another great question coming in from Simple Man's Comics, who says, are tags important for SEO, or is title and thumbnail more important? D, what are your thoughts on that?
Of all of the things that you should focus on, tags should be the least important, right? Focus on your title, topic, and your thumbnail. That's what you need to focus on. So many people get caught up on tags. I'm using the right tags. Why am I not growing? What tags do I use to go viral? People are, you're thinking about tags the wrong way. At one time, tags were very important, but now, for the past few years, tags are the least important. YouTube has said this themselves. This has come directly from YouTube at VidCon, where I've heard them talk about it. We've talked to YouTube engineers. It's the least important. That said, they do still give us tags, so use them. I know tags can be used for advertisers. I heard Roberto Blake say.
Daniel, why are tags not? Tom Nash is here, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see you, TN. Daniel, why are tags not as important as they used to be?
Because they're too easy to game. At the end of the day, what happened is YouTube is always trying to make sure that they build the platform in a way where it's actually serving the needs of the viewers, right? So it was far too easy for people who were bad actors to come in and go, oh, listen, our whole goal here is to just drive a lot of views and try to get that AdSense money, whether we're making quality content or not. So if you could just stick a bunch of words in a video and suddenly it would get you to rank and knock other videos out of contention, then it would make it too easy for stuff that wasn't particularly relevant or quality content to show up in places like search. So they devalued all those things. One thing I want to make sure everyone understands, make sure, this is a huge mistake I hear people say, make sure you understand the difference between a tag and a keyword. Okay. Tags are a YouTube function. In YouTube, you can go in and add tags under the tag box to your video. But now, those tags could be keywords. You could choose to use keywords. But the things in your title, when you're trying to talk about, I want to talk to people about tech. I'm a tech channel, and I want to talk about some of the latest tech. One of the keywords you might want to talk about is maybe the new Apple M1, right? Maybe there's a new MacBook. Those are all keywords when you use things like M1 and then MacBook. Those are keywords. Those are words that show up in the discussions that your target audience is having, and learning to leverage those words to speak the language that your audience speaks is important. It just isn't as important to stuff them all in the tag box and expect that to really impact your growth.
Also, not to be used with hashtags. So you've got keywords, you have hashtags, and you have tags. So hashtags, a lot of people will see hashtags showing up right underneath their video. If you're making a YouTube short, you want to put hashtag shorts in your title or description, right? So that's called a hashtag. And hashtags are great. Obviously, you want to use them for YouTube shorts. If you're putting hashtags underneath your video, that's a great way. So if you have a community name, like Nick and I have the Niminati, right? That's a great place to put your own channel name, to put your crew name on there, your community name. That way, if somebody clicks on that, they go down the rabbit hole of hopefully your own content. But if you're putting hashtags out there that are going to lead people away from your channel and to go watch other people's videos, I think that's a big mistake. So don't confuse tags with hashtags and keywords.
We want to welcome Chad Peterson, who is not being funny at all in the comment section. And I say that because he's actually being hilarious. I want to thank Brendan Sparks for his super chat, and that's awesome to see. I want to say what's up to Reagan V Films, who's like my best friend on Instagram, by the way. Like, we chat all the time. Josephine is here. Good to have you guys here. I want to say hi to everybody. This bite's for you, Costume Co. It's like what a great crew. We had a question come in from Lead with Jim, but before I get to it, I want to recognize Christina Smallhorn out in the audience. Christina, we just finished a video about you for our channel today, and we're excited to release it. But you guys just mentioned like hashtags and tags and hoobity bibbity baz. Like, what's more important, all of the metadata or a great video?
Oh, and none of that stuff is going to move the needle. Here's the process. Focus on a topic, right? You want to make sure that people are interested in your topic.
Yeah.
Get a good title together. That could be a title that's really compelling or interesting, that it really engages people, right? Mr. Beast is probably the king of that. Last hand off the boat wins the boat, right? That sort of thing. Or make your title that's something that's going to be search worthy if you're targeting search traffic, how to do this, how to do that. Next thing would be your thumbnail. If people don't click your thumbnail, they are not going to watch your video. Don't put the cart before the horse on this one. You got to get the click to get the view. Then once you get them to the video, content is king. The video is king. You want them to watch that video as long as you can, and ideally get them to watch another piece of content. That's really key. Get them to watch a second or even a third piece of content.
Daniel, do you agree with that priority hierarchy? And where do you think creators most fail, or where is there the big break point? What do they forget to do in that process?
Messaging. They blow it on the messaging. There's one way that I build. Like when I build, I need to know the topic, what I'm talking about first. And then I usually, from the topic, I start, because that's sort of the broader umbrella. I zero it down into the title, and I create the title. And once I get the idea of what the title might be, I can make the thumbnail, because I can see the imaging and the messaging of what that title might look like in an image. And I build it that way. But like D said, in terms of importance, someone else, you look at topic as number one, but the first thing they're going to notice as a viewer is probably the thumbnail. So you really want to make sure the messaging is correct. The biggest mistake I see people making thumbnails is they do that same thing. They think it's cookie cutter. They go, well, I got to put my face in the thumbnail, and I got to try to cram the title back up there so they know what we're talking about. And I'm a guy who believes that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Yeah. If you're making a video and you have to make a thumbnail, that should complement, not somehow repeat and regurgitate and stuff the title back up there. It should complement the title, so that whatever the video is about, you should say to yourself, before you add a single piece of text, what's an image that represents the thing this video is about? The example D gave was when Mr. Beast made a video about last one who takes his hand off the boat wins it, right? So guess what the thumbnail looked like? It was all the guys in the water, waist deep, with the boat right there, looking miserable with their hand on the boat, and it said, something to the effect of 2 days in or something like that. So day two, that's what it was. So you immediately knew, oh my God, there they are. They're standing in the water and they have to keep their hand on the boat. They're all saturated and cold. It's 2 days. How long did this thing go? Yeah. And they really went out of their way. Mr. Beast went out of his way to build something that really captured the image and messaging of the video. If you can do that successfully, that's how you make great packaging.
Oh,
Can I piggyback on that for a second? When people coming onto the platform, or people are struggling to build up that channel momentum, just pause for a second and be mindful of how you use YouTube, right? Be mindful every time something catches your eye, be it a topic or a thumbnail, be mindful and say, wait a minute, this just caught my eye. Why did it catch my eye? What is it about the topic? What is it about the title? What is it about the thumbnail that made me want to click on this thumbnail? And do the same thing when you're watching a video. You click on the video, and if you notice that you're not going to finish that video, like, oh, I'm 30 seconds in, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Pause and say, why am I leaving? Why did I just leave this video? Or, wow, I just watched this whole video and it's 10 minutes long. Why? And look at their editing, look at their pacing, look at their hook, look at how they put their strum, like deconstruct everything and be mindful of how you, the user, uses YouTube, because the algorithm is about the users. It's not about you, the creator. So if you can deconstruct how users are using YouTube, YouTube becomes a lot easier.
We do the eyeball test, right? When you're watching your own videos, at what point did your eyeballs wander? Because that was you actually got bored 3 seconds before that, and recognizing what we call media literacy, right? Being able to analyze a piece of media and understanding what happened that caused you to go, I'm bored listening to myself, can be really powerful. In fact, I taught that to Lead with Jim, who is in the YouTube Authority Intensive, our uppermost elite program. And he's got a great question. He said, when you were smaller channels, how did you deal with impatience while you were while you were waiting expectantly on your growth? Daniel, let's start with you. How do you deal with impatience when you're trying to get your channel to catch fire?
That's a really good question. There's a thing that happens in YouTube that it's a bit like, I compare it to either faith in religion or dieting. It's one of those things that the payoff comes much later on. You have to sort of, in faith, if you're not going to believe in a certain spirituality until you see it happen in front of you, you're going to be woefully disappointed. In a diet, I mean, I have that same thing I say all the time. Like, people be like, imagine having a diet where you go, I've been eating the right food, I've been exercising every single day, I've been drinking all kinds of water, I've been doing everything right, and I still haven't lost the weight that I want to lose. And you say, like, well, how long you been doing it? And they go, a week. Well, of course, it's the ability to stick with something and do it consistently. The other side of that impatience is, along the way, it's not like you're building, and then one day all of a sudden things explode. If your idea of YouTube is like, one day I'm going to have that one video that takes off, and that's what's going to be my viral hit, and all of a sudden my channel will be huge, you're going to have a really tough row to hoe, because that's not the typical path for most content creators. You should be expecting and trying to achieve gradual growth with every single upload. You should be watching week after week and saying, how did my videos do last week? How many more subscribers did I gain? How much longer was I able to keep them watching? How much better was I able to create the packaging around it? Because every week, if you're growing a channel effectively, your channel should be bigger 2 weeks from now in terms of subscriber base, in terms of viewer base, in terms of the amount of views that are actually being brought into that channel, so that your next upload, when you publish, should perform better, because if you do it right, it's going to be served to a slightly larger audience, and you create your own momentum.
Yeah, really big. The YouTube Studio app, folks, the YouTube Studio app. Now, I'm not going to advocate, it's different, by the way, than the YouTube app, right? The Studio app is the analytics app. And I'm not going to be the guy that advocates checking your analytics all the time, right? Like, I think that's just generally unhealthy. But developing a workflow, right, a cadence where, you're checking your video, I would say off and on the first day, right? You're just checking it off and on, but I don't even look until 3 hours, right? Because it's not even updated for 3 hours. So you publish at noon, you don't look again until 3 p.m. And you kind of like, that's your benchmark, right? I might look again in the evening to see if I get a little boost in the evening. I might look again at 24 hours and 48 hours. But after that, I kind of let it go. And I just look at where it landed at 48 hours. I may not look again for 2 weeks, right? But you kind of develop this cadence of looking at your videos, so that every time you upload, YouTube will tell you, is this video number out of your last 10 uploads? The app will say how that video is performing. And that helps you to move the needle, which is exactly what we want to do. And S. Burke 757 wants to move the needle. That's why he asked this next question. He says, how long would you let your video stay up before changing the title if it's not getting the engagement you wanted? D, what are your thoughts on that? And maybe explain the whole philosophy of changing a title after you've uploaded.
Yeah, let me start by saying that, so you can change your titles, you can change your thumbnails, you can change everything about your video when you upload it. What I do when I upload a video now, and this is what I did not do before, is I'll make 4 to 6 different thumbnails, and I watch my click-through rate in real time as soon as they start giving me that data, and I start swapping that out. So if I see, okay, wow, this is a lower click-through rate for my channel, then I swap this out with another thumbnail. My goal is to get that click-through rate going up. And I'm going to go back for a second and circle around. When I first started my channel, I didn't even worry about views, because I understood that this is a long game. I understood it's going to take a long time. What I did do was I gamified things, right? I tried to beat my last click-through rate. I tried to beat my last average view duration. Like, I just tried to beat the last video. I tried to beat the last thumbnail. And I spent time replying, like, I'm trying to, I gamified my click-through rate, I gamified my average view duration, and I focused on building community by answering every single comment that came in. Views didn't even cross my mind, because I realized that I was like an athlete, right? I had to train in order to play the game.
Yeah.
Right? So views didn't even cross my mind. So coming back around.
Yeah.
You can change your thumbnail. when it comes time to changing your titles, I would say it depends on your traffic source. So for my particular channel, I get a lot of traffic from search. So I know if I have a search-based title, most times I should just leave it alone because it can take a while. It can take 2 weeks. Sometimes it can take 3 months before it will start dominating in YouTube search. But if you're finding that you're getting a lot of browse traffic or you're getting suggested traffic, you're going to have to play with that and see. If I were getting a lot of browse traffic and I thought I could be doing better, I would probably start changing that within 24 hours. That's what I would do. But since I'm getting search-based traffic, I tend to let mine ride a lot longer.
You know, we tell our clients not to worry about views, right? Like it's like the last thing to worry about, that engagement. Are you responding? Did you do some research? You know, not thinking about views is kind of like not thinking about scoring, which is exactly what Kansas City was thinking about yesterday. Sorry, I had to.
It's hard. It's go ahead. It's hard not to look at views. It's hard not to look at views. It's hard not to look at subscribers because we want the reward for all the hard work that we put into it. We all want that. We want the dopamine hit. That's all it really comes down to. We want the dopamine hit. Oh, wow, you know, I'm doing good. But if you learn to fall in love with the process and gamify, you know, what you're doing, hey, I want to make this thumbnail, you know, I want to get, you know, 2% more on the next thumbnail that comes out. Like, do that. Like, focus on all the things that matter. Focus on your click-through rate. Focus on your average view duration. Yep. Focus on community building, and you'll never have to worry about views and subscribers. Things just kind of fall into place once you master those.
It kind of falls into place. It's very, very, very good. Okay, guys, in one short answer, Premiere or just publish? What do you think?
Publish.
Publish.
Yeah, I think so. I have one client, and that exactly one person, the same category, same person, that has a ton of success with Premiere, but they've been doing it since the beginning. And so they've kind of trained their audience to do that. Speaking of audience, Tom Nash is in our audience today, and he asked a great question. He says, how do you stay so positive all the time and not take yourself too seriously? You know what? Let me tell you, I would love to hear from you guys on this because I really struggle with taking myself too seriously. I do. And it's, I worry about that when I publish stuff, you know, is this good enough for Owen Video, that kind of thing. But would love to hear from you, Dee and Daniel, on this question.
I'm a human, just like everybody else. I fall down the darkness hole from time to time, and then I got to crawl back out. You know, I find if I have to take a break from YouTube, then I take a break. Like, my mental health is not going to take a back seat for the sake of being in the YouTube hamster wheel. If that means that it's happening right now on my channel. I had to take a bit of a break because of my current situation due to everything that's happening in the world. And my channel is hurting right now because of it. I'm not getting the views that I used to get. It definitely hurt my channel. And it's frustrating, but like, my mental health is way more important than just, you know, digits that never end, right? Those digits, you just put another digit behind that digit, and that's not important. You know, so yeah, I fall down the route. Yeah, I fall down the darkness hole. Everybody does. And then I never take myself seriously. You know, I'm not going to grow up. You know, I'm almost 50 years old. I'm a Toys R Us kid for life.
That's rad. At Toys R Us. So I just want to throw that out there. Daniel, what do you think? How do you keep yourself on the level?
Oh my God, have you seen my content? There's nothing about me that I take seriously. I mean, I try to make an idiot of myself whenever possible. I just think that's a good way to live.
You do that well.
Yeah, thank you. I've been working hard on it. The thing that I find myself, what I take very seriously is not myself. I take other creators' success very seriously. Anybody who's in my memberships groups knows the times that I get the most serious, the times that I get the most like fervent and I get crazy and rabid about stuff is if I see one of the creators that I know should be doing better making a repeated mistake. That's when you'll hear me like get really serious and tell them like, listen, I need you to listen and hear me right now. Not because I think I'm important, because I think they're important. I've said all along that the reason I do what I do, I help content creators make better content and grow their YouTube channels, is because the better they do, the better the platform does, the better YouTube does as a thing, the better we all do by proxy, because we're trying to build something that continues to do better and better and stays in the forefront of pop culture and people's daily lives. If YouTube turns into the next, MySpace, I don't want to see that happen. Then we all suffer. So I'm always trying to help creators build the platform in the way it should be built, which is by them succeeding and not spinning their wheels and working super hard to get nowhere. I want to see people work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, that's really big. I think for
Testify.
the core, yeah, right. Like give that one up.
Yeah.
I think the big thing for me, I struggle with the darkness, and I kind of on a fairly regular basis. Roberto and I think, share this struggle, and he's really public about it, and we talk about it together. And he's one of those guys I text where I'm just like, dude, it's just like feeling it today. If you guys don't know Roberto, he's an amazing guy, amazing friend, amazing creator. But service to others pulls me out. Like that is kind of the thing. Like serve others. My family and I have sort of adopted a neighborhood in our town that is like a Skid Row, and we have food packed in the fridge, and it's like, or in the cupboards, and we're always like, you know what? If I'm feeling down, I'm focusing on myself too much. Let's go feed them, and let's just get out of the funk. Right? Or answering questions from the YouTube community is something that lights my fire. I've talked to my wife about this all the time. I may start the day feeling kind of down. Lila, Carrie, great to have you here. I may start the day feeling down, but after like being on the line with other YouTubers and coaching them and entrepreneurs, like that lights me up, honestly, more than making videos. And so what are your thoughts?
Owen, 100%. So I say 100% the same thing. When I'm just like, you know what, like, what's the point of even making another video?
Yeah.
Right. And it's a weird thing to say, because I'm financially, my YouTube channel is giving me more than I could have ever hoped for. Right. I'm incredibly fortunate. I'm not complaining, but I'm human, right? Our brains do weird things sometimes. And I get in that state where I'm just like, what's the point of even uploading another video? Like, what's the point of this? Yeah. And then, I'll go into, our private Facebook group, or I'll read some comments, or I'll just end up chatting with some of the community members. And they're just like, wow, you know what, man, thanks for your tip. I just got my first sponsor deal. And oh my God, it's like you just plugged me into the light socket. And it's just like, it just revitalizes me and brings me back to life. And what I'll do, I'll just come over here and I'll come up with an idea, hit record, and start making videos again. Yeah, so when I go down, the community lifts me right back up. And that's what I absolutely love about YouTube.
So big. I love to hear that stuff. And if you guys like being a part of an amazing community, then I urge you to become a part of the Restream community and pick up a free trial of Restream today. It's what we're using to broadcast. It's how we have the comments on the screen and the title of the show above here and multiple guests on the show. We have tons of great features here, and you can try this software for free by going to owenvideo.com/Restream. We got a few more questions left, and our next one comes from James J. William, who asks, what makes a video take off all of a sudden? I had one from 6 months ago that gained over 600 views this weekend, and it was from before I ever learned anything from Owen. So great to have you, by the way, James, learning from the community. Daniel, why will a video just all of a sudden spike?
Well, there's a bunch of reasons, but the bottom line is typically YouTube, depends on the size of your channel. Typically, when a video starts driving more views, it's because YouTube put it in front of an audience and they started to respond to it. Now, sometimes that can be because you had a video that was sitting around for a long time. You were a smaller channel. It had driven several hundred views, but over a longer period of time, and the views are slowly coming in, and the metrics are decent, and it's a good video. But YouTube won't jump on something based on a small amount of traffic data. It likes to have a substantial amount of traffic data to understand that who to serve that video to, and then to see how they respond. So like some videos you'll see, they'll sit around for a while, and then YouTube gathers data on them, and then slowly you'll see all of a sudden, bang, they'll just shoot off one day, because YouTube has decided, I think we know enough about this video and who's the right target audience to put it in front of. So it'll test it out and put it in front of some of them, and all of a sudden those people will respond positively. And then YouTube will continue to serve it back out because the audience response is strong. But they don't do that right off the bat with all videos. They sort of videos that right out of the gate start sending a lot of traffic data, which is why a lot of people think, YouTube hates smaller channels. They only really recommend bigger channels. It's not that. It's that larger channels have a larger built-in community that has been built over a long period of time. So when a larger channel publishes a video, there's a lot of traffic data that gets sent right back to YouTube. YouTube as a platform starts understanding who they can serve that video to next. So you'll see larger channels start to get their stuff pushed out because they understand it more rapidly, where your video might only have 100 views and YouTube's still getting to understand it a little more appropriately to where it should be placed and surfaced on the platform.
In addition to, getting in front of the right audience, another thing can be relevance. So, let's take The Mandalorian, for example, the Disney TV hit show, right? Hands up if you love The Mandalorian. I love The Mandalorian. What do you think happened when Disney announced The Mandalorian, and every episode that comes out with The Mandalorian, what do you think happened to almost every YouTube video where they talked about Boba Fett, or they talked about Mandalorians, or they talked about Star Wars, and what do you think happened to those videos? People went to the internet and they said, well, The Mandalorian, who's Boba Fett? What's The Mandalorian? A lot of those videos were going to get a boost on that. So relevance to what's happening in the world can also make a huge impact.
And that, I think that's the importance of conferences. And somebody Reagan mentioned Clubhouse, and even like these summits. Some of the best performing videos on my channel of all time have been released before a bigger thing got released. So we were at Traffic and Conversion. This must have been 4 years ago, maybe 5. But they were talking about chatbots, and they were talking about ManyChat. And I go, you know what? This is going to be big. So I made a series of videos on chatbots, and they just kind of rested there for, I would say, 6 months, a year. But when ManyChat became sort of like well-known in the space, all of a sudden, every single one of those videos skyrocketed. And I sort of forgot about him at that point. And so there's this reaping and sowing. Now, I think a lot of creators build their whole channels like this, where the video they're making today won't matter for a year. I think having a good balance, right? A good balance of some trending stuff. What do you got there? What was that?
I didn't realize I was wearing a Mandalorian shirt. That was just that was just total coincidence.
Yeah, total coincidence.
Right? This show brought to you by The Mandalorian.
Right.
Yeah, this show is brought to you by The Mandalorian. So one thing, if you've got a cooking channel, right, and you're making videos about how to make a turkey, watch and see what happens right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right. You're gonna get that boost of people looking for how to bake.
Hopefully,
you bake a turkey. How do you cook a turkey? What do you do with a turkey, Daniel?
Right.
Eat it. I eat a turkey.
There you go.
And try to find those little niches where you can make some gains. And speaking of gains, we got time for one more question coming in from Geronimo Rubio. And Carlos, if you could put that on the screen. First of all, guys, can you just give it up for a sec? Just give me like a 5 in the comment section for Carlos of Zepeda Media, who is running this entire show from behind the scenes.
Nice, Carlos.
Way to go, Carlos.
Putting the things up. He's really doing some great work here, and you would never even know it because he's sort of the kind of a guy behind the scenes. We got a question about TikTok. Is TikTok a good place to bring your subscribers? Yeah, I mean, I love TikTok. I would be playing with TikTok, but don't take your eyes off YouTube Shorts either. I think you can use them both. Just don't upload a video with the TikTok logo onto YouTube or anywhere else. Use the hard file. Okay, last question from Geronimo Rubio is, what's the most productive way to gain more followers? I'm getting views, but not followers. Daniel, then D. Let's hear your answers on this one.
Make the content that people want to watch. Again, when we go, I know it sounds like I'm a broken record, but value proposition. If you make content that adheres to a very specific value proposition consistently, if someone comes and watches one of your videos today, like what views are not all stamped out of the same mold, not all views are created equal. So you could be driving views that someone went, oh, that was an okay video, and they go away, and the other views you get tomorrow aren't from the same people. So what you want to do is create content that brings that viewer back and gets them invested, where they go, that was good, I really like that, and then they watch another piece of content and go, that was really good, I like this channel, I'm going to subscribe just to earmark it so that I know tomorrow when I try to find more of this, I want to make sure I can find it. So really important to make sure that you're trying to get those viewers to watch multiple pieces of content so that they would want to come back for more, and the best way to do that is make content that adheres to a single value proposition.
So good. Hallelujah. Dean Inman.
Yeah, so I'm going to say something that's a little controversial.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, I want to say that if you hit a milestone, you should definitely celebrate it. It's a win. Always celebrate your wins. Always celebrate your wins. That being said, instead of focusing on followers, here's what I want you to think about. If you delete the YouTube app on your phone and then you reinstall the app and you create a brand new account that has nothing to do with your account, and you go in and you watch a video from Owen Video, and you watch a second video from Owen Video, and you leave a comment, watch what YouTube does. You're not, don't subscribe to him. Don't subscribe to him. Just watch 2 of his videos, leave a comment or 2, give it a thumbs up, and watch what happens. YouTube, even though you're not subscribed, will show you more videos from Owen. You're going to open up the YouTube app the next time, you're going to see more videos from Owen. Owen's going to go live. Guess what? YouTube's going to let you know, because YouTube has identified that you like watching content from Owen video. So instead of focusing on followers, right? Celebrate your wins, but instead of focusing on that, focusing on getting people to watch another piece of content. Focus on getting people to engage, and you can do that by taking advantage of your card, your end screen, putting links in your description above the fold, taking advantage of your pinned comment and linking out to another video there, and link all of those things going out to one single video. Like, focus on a funnel, create a watch time funnel to where somebody comes in, they watch one video, and they're like, oh wow, here's another video that's exactly like this one, I'm interested in this. They click and they watch that one. YouTube's going to keep showing them your content, right?
Yeah.
So focus on the right stuff. I mean, I get it. Everybody wants subscribers. I totally understand. You want the play button. I totally get it. But if you focus on all those other things, and if they like your content and you're making content for the right audience, and it's in alignment with your value proposition and they dig it, they're going to subscribe.
Yeah.
But even if they don't, you're getting the views, you're getting the watch time. You don't need them to subscribe in order to get them to watch.
Yeah, it's so big. All the things you've just said. Guys, focus on the content. And here's something else. Get yourself in a mastermind group. And I don't mean go and pay some big membership fee. And we would love to have you in the video marketing school, where you can join our mastermind for as low as $49 a month. But even beyond that, get a group of friends. Show them your videos, show them your titles, show them your thumbnails, and just get in the habit of sort of going back and forth. D, your brother Nick is one of my close buds, and I often, like, we're building a new channel on Amazon Alexa. I've showed him 2 videos already.
Oh, come on.
I know.
Oh, wait, come on. Well, you just be quiet, Alexa.
Yeah. Imagine filming it, and I've gotten Alexa like in every room in the house, and
right.
It's like a big struggle. But get some people that are close to you that will give you honest feedback. My buddy Scott Ayers, I sent him over to a webpage today, and he was like, hey, here's my honest feedback on it. You know what I mean? That's the kind of feedback you need. It's what's going to make you better. And if you continue to take that advice, you're going to get better and better. Your future is going to be so bright that I am going to have to wear shades. And that's all the time we have today. Dee and Daniel, thanks so much for being on the show today. We're going to put links to your channels in the description box right now. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. It's a pleasure to be with you today. And don't forget to join us next week on Stream Like You Mean It, Mondays at 12 p.m., 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm Owen Video, Air 5, and we'll see you.